Hey, Jason Delgado here with my esteemed guest, Michael Pea, both writers for Friends of Comic Con. How's it going, Michael?
It's going pretty good. How's it going with you?
Good, good. Still recovering from San Diego Comic Con. What about you?
I don't know about you, but I'm ready to go again next year.
Yeah,
I'm tuning
yeah,
up now. I'm thinking about buying badges, buying the whole 9 yards and stuff. So I'm good.
yeah. You have to. I mean, it almost starts up right away again. You got to start thinking about all that stuff. I mean, but we're here. We're going to talk about some of our favorite moments, some things maybe that there were issues with at Comic Con. Um, yeah, give me some of your highlights to start with.
Well, my biggest highlight was Lantern's activation. Jason and I discussed this a little bit earlier, folks, and so there are a couple of things we're going to leave out of this discussion, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, they put time and money into this. HBO did a great job in their activations because they did Stuart Fails to Save the Universe too, and that was a lot of fun. So all these were great funds, the activations, and then there was a Clash for the Stash that was at the Seaport Village. That's still going on now. So if you're in San Diego, you definitely need to try that out. And so we had a chance. I think Jason, I think you went to all three too, didn't you?
All three?
Of
I
the activations, the lanterns,
uh-huh.
Stuart Fails to Save the Universe, and Clash for the Stash.
I didn't go to Stuart Fails.
Okay.
I went to some other ones, Resident
Okay.
Evil, but yeah,
Oh, how was that one? Was that good?
it really disappointed me, and
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Because there were no zombies.
Ah,
You think Resident Evil, you think they're going to be zombies chasing you. At least maybe you'll see a zombie. Some no zombies.
or
Um,
else, if they're afraid of this is me overthinking this, but if they're afraid of liability, have the zombies chained and just have them rah rah rah
yeah,
rah, so they don't touch anybody, right? And
yeah,
so you could still get that feeling of having the actors who are really good at that, because they got the zombies on the TV show, on Walking Dead, and those guys. Why not hire some of those guys to come in there and do this, right?
that's what I thought. I mean, they had the little houses set up like spooky. Like you walk in, I'm walking in. I think, okay, a zombie's gonna jump out at me. No, nothing. You scan QR codes to get prizes. I had a group with me. Somebody in the group loved that. I don't care about scanning QR codes. Like really, they had a room that was showing a little scene from the movie. That was cool. They did have one little activation part where you step in a fake elevator, and it was like the floor was dissolving with these effects on the ground and on the wall. It was like there was a fire or something, and then a digital zombie, I think, maybe came. You saw him on the ceiling, but it was like, okay. you know
Well, but the thing about lanterns, though, and you were there for the lanterns, right? It was
yes,
interactive, right?
yeah,
We're running through. We got to solve a puzzle. We've got a coach or an instructor getting us through the whole thing, and the actors were all played really never jumped out of character, right? So you
right
felt like you were part of something, right? And those are the most fun. The other
there.
ones where there's just I have to be careful what I say about this. I think there's an issue sometimes. My thing is, if you're not going to spend the money to do it right, don't spend the money at all.
I agree. I agree because I was so excited for Resident Evil, thinking this is going to be one of the big offsites, and then uh, it really disappointed me. Like I said, someone else in the group loved the QR codes, and you get little prizes. That's fine.
Mhm.
I mean, add that too. Don't make that the main thing.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think,
yeah. Because I
yeah,
mean, come on, lanterns. We got that great ring. It wasn't a plastic, out of the cereal box ring. It was a real ring,
yeah,
right? I mean, that whole thing. I mean, they put time and money into that. They put thought. They had good actors. Everything about that thing was outstanding. And then the panel kind of cracked me up a little bit. Those guys are, the playoff on each other was pretty hilarious and stuff. But it's the series I'm looking forward to most. I mean, I am just pumped about it. You have two great actors, and it looks like they got a great script going. If the previews or anything, so I'm totally excited. I totally went off on there, but I love Lanterns. I just think it has the potential.
Yeah, I think that's for most of the audience. I think they're more excited for Lanterns than anything else DC is currently doing right now. I mean,
yeah, it's unfortunate. I think it's unfortunate, but I'm glad they did a series with it. I'm glad they did it on HBO, so it can be, HBO. It's known for. I mean, HBO was the first quality back in the day. You get HBO, and you always knew there was just quality stuff there, right? And they're still producing, great quality stuff. Now, having said that, I still think Apple at the moment is producing the best sci-fi. Okay,
I agree.
That's a side point. Okay,
I agree. I want to ask you, which Lanterns quest did you get? Because I've been hearing from different people. We all got kind of little different things here and there. What did you do?
We did. We had the one where we were evading capture. Then we went to the sheriff's office to find the clue that we needed, and then we went to the farm. Okay, so did you do any of those?
Yeah, I did the first couple, and we had a shooting range thing. Did you guys have that?
Did you guys get to shoot there?
Yeah, we got to shoot.
No. We were on the farm, and the farm lady was there, and then we had the sheriff lady was running us out of her office, right?
Yeah.
And then we had the guy, just we had to keep moving,
Yeah.
We had to solve the puzzle, and then we had to keep moving. So it added a sense of urgency. You always had a sense of urgency with this thing, right?
Right.
So that's just my take on it.
Yeah, it was fun. What about your ending? Did you guys get the big explosion or the person falling?
Oh yeah. I forgot. We did have our one person that fell through the trapdoor, right?
Yeah, we didn't have that. We didn't have that.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh yeah, we had one person fall through the trapdoor. Yeah, they were trying to whatever. It was funny because she had to sign an extra release to do it. It was good. No, it was.
Well, one person in my group was free. They got to do that. They were in a different time. They got to do that, and they were freaked out. They kept telling the person helping them, like, "You got to tell me what this is. I'm going to jump off this thing if you don't tell me what this is."
Wow.
Yeah. So.
The thing is, this stuff is super, super safe. But my thing is, if you're that afraid, you shouldn't have volunteered for it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things, and it's nothing on you, because some people they don't want to. No. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I can't do it. And that's fine. Yeah. And there are other people like, oh my God, here, let's do it again. Let's do it a third time. Can we do it without the safety at the bottom? It's like, there are people there are people like that, right? And so that's the person who should have been chosen. But whatever, it's all good.
Yeah, and I heard there was a different thing under. There was a bar underneath too that some people went under and solved something in the bar underground.
Well, we didn't do that. We solved the thing in the sheriff's office. Okay, so
we
that's
did
what
too.
Yeah,
we did.
But the good thing. But Jason, think about this. There were like 4 or 5 different scenarios.
Yeah,
which is really good. I mean, come on. It was, in my opinion, it was one of the few I went to, but it was without a doubt the best activation there. I mean, they put the time and energy and effort into it and thought, with the scripts and everything else, no, it was just great. It was. I think you were talking about, it's old school. Remember back in the days, it's like old school Comic-Con, where it's like we came back. The only thing that wasn't old school Comic-Con were the things outside over behind the convention center with that grassy area. I don't know about you, but I didn't know there was grass there.
I didn't know. There was nothing back there besides Adult Swim. which is weird because there's usually multiple things back there.
Well,
You know,
they usually flow out. I mean, they actually.
yeah,
I remember one year they actually went past that, and over there they actually took over that area, more of that area over there by the Hilton too. Remember?
yeah, yeah,
So Adult Swim was good. I
yeah.
mean, it was all right,
Mhm.
but I mean, nothing matched the Lanterns. I'm sorry, but that was just. I mean, Adult
No,
Swim was great, and I think it was good, for people with kids and to be
yeah,
outside and stuff like that. But
yeah,
nothing was like the Lanterns. I mean, that thing, that. I mean, we actually had to think. It was almost like an escape room where you had to figure out clues and stuff.
yeah.
So it made it that much more fun, in my opinion. But that's just me.
That's true. There was an element to Adult Swim at nighttime that I think we both missed. Uh, they were
Oh,
there was a mosh pit with my friend who's the giant lightsaber. He was in the middle of this thing. They're playing like metal music, and these guys are moshing around like crazy at Adult Swim with the lightsaber.
well,
Uh,
nighttime. That's what should
yeah,
have adult pleasures,
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I just at daytime. I just thought it was fun. It was interesting. But remember we used to have the IMDb mode too, and they would
I
do the
remember
interviews.
that.
You could just sit there and watch that stuff, and of course ET. Well, I mean, no, EW. They didn't do their
Mhm.
party this year,
Yeah, that's true.
so I don't know. It was like old Comic Con, but yet not old Comic Con.
Yeah, I think it was still missing some things. It was hotter than normal.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that really had an effect on people. Um, and yeah, it did. It felt a little off, but you're right. There were elements that reminded us of old Comic Con.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um,
The panels, just being able to, where we had three different panels at the same time that you wanted to go to, that was like old Comic Con.
yeah,
But the activations, Lanterns is totally old school at that level of just great activation and swag afterwards. Okay, that's old school, and to me that epitomizes what old school was. Some of the other ones were lesser, you know.
I agree. I agree. I really like the Nickelodeon offside. I don't think you got a chance to see
No,
Nickelodeon.
I didn't get the whole punch. I was like I said, I already had enough to do, and I had enough to concentrate on. I had too much. I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to do all three of those things again. I'm not going to do all three of
Yeah,
those things again.
yeah. That's wise. I mean, sometimes you just do too much at Comic Con. That's just the way it goes. I have a video here. I'll show that if that's all right of me getting slimed at
Oh, at
Comic Con.
Nickelodeon, yeah, you
Yeah,
talked about
yeah,
that. You were looking
yeah.
forward to that like crazy. I remember that. Yeah.
I was. Let me pull that up here. Oh. It's the slow mo that they sent me there.
Oh, did they have a place to clean up afterwards or something or what?
Oh, that's a whole nother story right there too, because
Oh,
they had these little towels, and they were telling me beforehand, are you sure? Okay, so they had the option. You could do it with a tarp or without a tarp, and I'm thinking the whole time, like, are you really doing it if you're doing it with a tarp? You know, and most of the people were doing it with a tarp. And when I'm getting to the front, they're like, "We're running out of towels. You really sure you want to do this without a tarp? You can go to the restroom down the street. Maybe they'll have paper towels in the park. So I was starting to sweat it a little bit. Well, I'm like, no, I got to do this. It's not really doing it without. So they did have towels for me after, so it was good. But yeah, it was really watery. I was expecting it to be more sticky and slimy, but
mhm.
yeah, it was very liquidy. Um, they gave you a little sample of it in the freebie stuff. You got a SpongeBob ice cream and different little freebies. It was a great place for kids. Other than the sliming part, they had a little stage where they were putting on little shows for kids, and SpongeBob was running around and everything. But yeah, I loved getting slimed. I always watched Double Dare and Nickelodeon when I was a kid, so it was fun.
Where did this take place?
It was next to the Children's Museum.
Oh, yeah. Is that space, that like little park space that's out there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember when they used to have you remember when they used to have Nerd HQ?
Yeah, you were talking about that last time. Yeah.
I miss Nerd HQ. I mean, irrespective of the person that's in charge of it, it was a wonderful time, and they need to bring that back, because that was just so much and so exciting. It just, you remember those? I mean, Jeepers. It's like,
I remember those. Yeah.
Oh, it's like the Conversations for a Cause. Remember that? So you paid $25. So what? Yeah. You're in a small auditorium. You know, it's what, seated 50 people or something like that.
Yeah.
And the stars are right there, and you can chat with them. And all that money went towards charity. And in fact, a friend and I had a conversation with the president of Nerd HQ, and the star that's associated with it. And we told them, we said to them, why don't you charge more money? All this money is going towards a charity. If people don't want to pay for it, then they won't pay for it. But I guarantee you're still going to sell out each time.
That's true.
Because the money was going towards charity. I mean, so you get $30 and you get to have an hour with the stars. Oh, duh. What do we at Comic-Con for? People pay that much for an autograph, for one star, not to chat with them, because you don't have time to chat with them. You come up, you take the picture, and you move on, right? 2 minutes.
That's true.
And instead you get an hour of chatting and listening to them tell you stuff firsthand.
I agree. Sorry to interrupt you, Michael. We have our third guest here, so let's add him on here. Chris, hey, welcome. How's it going? Chris, can you hear me? I guess
you better type something in there for him.
Yeah, let me type there. You might be having some audio issue here. Okay, yeah, he's working on his audio, so yeah, let's keep on going till Chris.
Was Chris there too? I didn't see him.
Yeah, he was in my Hall H line.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
I can't hear it. Hear.
I think we can hear you now, Chris.
I can hear
we can hear you. Let me tell him.
Can he hear us?
I think he can't hear us. Yeah.
He's on mute. I see he's got a mute sign on there.
Oh, let's try that. Unmute. Let's see.
Everybody seems to be having audio issues lately with these things, because I know that Leonard was having problems too. And he's done it a number of times, so it's not new, not a newbie, right? So
no, yeah.
Is he reading that stuff? Is he seeing that, do you think, or not?
Yeah, because he replied in there. So.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, he's got to hit the mute thing on his.
Yeah.
He's still on mute. Yeah. Can he hear us though? Can he hear us? Hey, Chris, if you can hear us, put your finger up like this.
I don't think he can.
Yeah, he can hear us. Yeah.
All right. Oh, let's see.
You have to type. I think you have to type and tell him.
Hey, Chris, working now?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
There
Now
you
we
go.
can
My
hear you.
apologies, gentlemen. How
There
you
you
doing
go.
there?
Yeah.
Good.
See, his mute thing is off now, so it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good now. So how's it going, Chris? We were just talking about some of our highlights of the con. So yeah, jump in there. What were some of your highlights?
So I guess, the things for the con for I always enjoy doing is I know everybody's going in there to go ahead and meet the celebrities, but I've always been under the nature, let me get the guys that got me my imagination going as a kid. Those to me are the celebrities. So meeting the artists, the writers, and just meeting those guys, hunting for SIGs. I mean, from the moment I get in there, I'm hunting for SIGs and just going out there and just meeting those guys and just letting them know, hey, you made a big impact on me as a kid growing up. You got my imagination going, and basically those guys are kind of like the ones that basically set up my foundation for how I wanted to be as a growing up as a kid. So the Peter Cullens, the Optimus Primes, those guys were like the role models for what a guy should be like growing up. So meeting guys like Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, Andy Kubert, all those guys are the ones guys that I enjoy always trying to go in and meet and just say thank you again for all the continued work that they do. So just doing that, and then everything else is an added bonus on it. I have so much fun. I kind of nerd out when I go out there because there's so much to do over there, and there's not enough time. You gotta clone yourself to be able to do everything that you want to do, and you still wouldn't be able to do everything you wanted to get done.
That's very true, and that brings up. I mean, there's so many different ways you can go with the con. I mean, because Michael and I aren't the big time collectors. I used to be years ago, but yeah, you can do that. You can be into the panels. You can be into the cosplay. You can be into the offsites. I mean, it's choose your own adventure, really.
Yep.
Well,
that is very apropos. You have to
you.
go in mind, but you also got to go in mind knowing that you can have a plan of attack, but it's going to change the moment you go in there. Because I know before I went in there, I'm like, okay, I was looking at who's going to be there, and I grab books to make sure I go over there. And then I go over there, and I'm like, I see an artist whose name never showed up on any of my lists. I'm like, oh man, if I would have known. So you just got to be able to fluctuate and be flexible and just go and do this stuff. Maybe there's a new panel you wanted to go see, and maybe something opened up on because of the lines that you're like, I'm not going to be able to get to this artist, so let me go jump into a panel. And you go into a panel, and then you realize, hey, that was much better than just standing in line and for a SIG. You get to hear what's coming up, what's coming down the pipeline. So
yeah, exactly, and nothing better illustrates that. Oh, sorry, Mike.
No. I want to challenge both of you, okay?
Yeah.
Jason and Chris both. Why don't you guys submit a panel proposal?
I've done it. I'll do it again. I hear Alyssa's a part of programming now.
So we have it in, yeah.
Yeah,
no,
we have
but
it
seriously
in.
though, Chris, too, because your love of this stuff is the kind of things that they want in those panels, especially about comic books and stuff. Okay, so you guys need to sit down and work on and submit a panel, and don't get discouraged because they turn you down. They turned me down. I don't know how many times before I got it. Okay. And then, so I would encourage you guys to do it. I mean, what do you have to lose? And honestly, having a panel, you have no idea. It's just like how much fun it is. And then to get to talk about something that you truly love, and that people who come to see you truly love it too. And don't be surprised is that after a panel, people come up and talk to you like you're the expert, you're the professor, right? And it's great. But seriously though, that's my challenge to you guys. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, and Michael had his panel about the Expanse. You want to talk about how that went on Friday night?
Well, that went incredibly well. It surprised the hell out of me. Friday night at 8:00. Do you believe that? And the scary part about it is they put us in a bigger room than we've ever had before, and we filled that room more than we've filled any room before at the same time. Okay, and it was a lot of fun. As a person who's done a whole bunch of panels, I made a huge mistake on this panel. The subject matter was way bigger than 1 hour. We literally could have done 3 hours and not covered everything. And I learned the hard way that I don't want to ever do that again. So my thing to you guys is when you do your panel, map it out, to exactly how long you want it to be. And if you can, have a couple of giveaways too. Okay. Just a thought.
Those are good suggestions, definitely. Yeah, I submitted a panel before. You know this, Michael. You probably know this too, Chris, about the Star Wars Holiday Special. The guys who made the documentary and wrote the book, and and comedy legend Bruce Valanche, who wrote, for the Oscars for years, wrote jokes for so many people. He was supposed to be on, but yeah, maybe I'll try it again. We'll see.
Did he not show up, or did he turn you down at the last minute? What happened?
No, he was all set to do it. Comic-Con just didn't approve the panel.
Did you have him listed as one of the people going to be on the panel?
Yeah, and I talked to him after. He's like, "Hey, I'm always available." So he's getting up there in age now,
Well, yeah, but he's always with that hair. He's always gonna be a crazy man. Okay, my thing to you is just it. So they turned it down one time, reword it, make oomph it up a little bit, right, and just send it back in. And then don't just send in one, send in like 3 things. And so Chris has talked about the comic books and the comic book artists. You guys need to do a panel about that and see who you can get to be on that panel. Some of the new artists that may not be famous yet, but who would love to be able to do a San Diego Comic-Con panel, okay? Yeah. Or else, they're going to be there anyway, and they would love to be on the panel. Yeah. You got to, the worst they're going to tell you is no. It's so what? It's like, if they say no, so what? You move on.
Yeah, I'd love to do a panel with Todd McFarlane. I loved interviewing that guy. Interviewed him twice.
Everybody wants to do a panel.
Yeah, I know everybody wants to.
Start smaller, get known first, right? Get a panel there. What you do is get a good comic book panel with a few artists and invite him to be there. Now he may not go, but the fact that you invited him, okay? You got to plan ahead. Comic-Con is like, you got to plan at least a year in advance. Okay. You know this. How long we've been doing this? At the minimum, you plan a year in advance. And I would say if you're going to do a panel, plan 2 years in advance. Just saying, I'm just throwing this out. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. But going back to, you never know what's going to happen. Johnny Depp just showed up in Gaslamp. And I ran over there, I ran over there with another person in our Hall H group. And we got to the very front. We videotaped him. I have a clip on Facebook that got 1 million views of Johnny Depp. I don't know if I should play it or whatever. But these crazy things you don't expect at Comic-Con, just like Chris was talking about.
100%. I think it was like the first night we got there. We had just finished walking through the gas lamp. We're calling it a night, and then I think it was you who had sent me the video. I was like, "Oh, John Cena's just walking around the gas lamp, going out there," and we're like, "Holy cow! We were just there 5 minutes ago, and next thing you know, John Cena's there." So you never know what's going on there, And these celebrities, they just want to just be like normal people and just hang out, and so it's an awesome, where you can just hang out and chill with them and just have fun.
We were hanging out. We were waiting for the party, fandom party, right? So we're standing outside, and you guys, you're not going to know his name, but you know him as his character, the principal from not the principal, the dean from Community, right?
Oh yeah,
Jim Dash. So he's over there, standing over there. So I look over there. So what happened? We saw him walk past, and then I moved over to where the press was standing, right, for the fandom party. And so and then he came over there. He was like looking around because he was looking for the VIP entrance, right? And so I leaned over to him. I said, "We know who you are, but we're going to leave you alone." Oh, he says, "Oh, you don't have to do that." And then so one of the women I was standing with, she goes over to, he said, "Can I get a picture with you?" And then the guy comes up, "Can I get a picture with you?" And of course, I got a picture after that because they all got pictures with them, right? But that's the thing about Comic-Con. These guys are always hanging out. Sometimes they're with their kids. If they're with the kids, you should leave them alone, Yeah. But if they're standing out all alone by themselves or something like that, and they're waiting for somebody to recognize them, because a lot of times they are waiting for someone to recognize them, And I think he was too. And so, but that's Comic-Con. So I always tell people, you never know who you're going to run into. Always be prepared and always remember they're human beings and just be polite. And most of the times they're more than glad to take a picture with you. When they're with the kids, no, leave them alone when they're with the kids,
I agree. And Chris was the one who pointed out to me in the group. Seth Green was at our bad idea party, so we all got pics with Seth Green. So that was great.
Oh yeah, and he was just hanging out there. It was like it was nothing, So he was just mingling, and as long as you're respectful, you go up to the individuals and just don't try to be paparazzi. It's like, hey, just take their picture. Just go, hey, you mind if I take a picture with you? They'll be more than gracious to say yes. And if they don't, okay, fine. Then you just got to be able to walk away. But I mean, most of the time they're really gracious about it, And I know that right afterwards, the entire group got a picture with them and it posted on the chat. So it was awesome, seeing stuff like that happen.
That was, and the same thing happened with me and Leonard Maltin, the great film critic.
Oh yeah,
we were at the Marriott. I think we're both staying there. We were in the elevator. We get off. He's got all his grandchildren running around him. He's in his little cart, and I just went up to him. I'm like, Leonard, you mean so much to me as a critic. May I just take a picture with you? He's like, yeah, of course. And his daughter took the picture. It was great. Yeah.
He's people like that are just sometimes just glad to be recognized.
Yeah.
Oh God, who was it? I'm trying to think. It was there's some who are really, really good about it, and some who are interesting about it, and depending on when you see them too. Yeah. So one Comic-Con, I like to tell this story. Jason's already heard this story before. Do you remember the woman from Battlestar Galactica who was the blonde lady? Trisha Helfer. Do you remember her? She played Lucifer's mother on Lucifer too.
Okay.
So she was the Cylon. She was a human appearing Cylon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in the elevator and I recognize her, right? And so what I said is I pretended like I was just thinking out loud, right? And so I said, yeah, I heard just, that Trisha Helfer is going to be on Lucifer. She was so good on Battlestar Galactica. It's like, it's hard, which is she more beautiful or more talented, or she's just really incredible. And she heard me, I was pretending like I didn't see them there, right? So I was doing this. She started laughing. She says, "Oh my God, you're so sweet." And she just started laughing. Her friends start laughing too, right? So I mean, it's how you've got to judge it too. And most of these guys, again, they're at Comic-Con, they know the deal. Yeah. Okay. So if they don't want to do it, then they stay in their hotel rooms, or they do what Ryan Reynolds did. They dress up and they go out in costume.
Yeah, 99% of these people are happy to do it. I mean, I can only remember one story at LA Comic-Con of an actress who was paid there to do photos, who was throwing temper tantrums and stuff. And that's the only time that I ever saw someone who wasn't.
Name names. We got to know the dirt. Give us the tea, as they say, right?
Yeah,
so people stay away from it. So people know, because a lot of times these stars, they're stressed out. I mean, they're human beings. Sometimes they're just stressed because there's just so much going on around them too, And if they're introverted, that's not the thing to be doing. But they need to make a decision not to do it then. So name names so we can stay away from her, or be really respectful from a distance too,
It was the actress who played Iris on The Flash. On the TV, the CW show.
And she freaked out.
I remember her. Yeah. I remember her. She was at my first Comic-Con, and I remember running into her at our hotel, Manchester, and it was very standoffish. And I think the only reason why she didn't tell me flat out no is because I actually had my kids with me at the time, and so I don't think she wanted to disappoint my kids at the time. So she went ahead and did it. But otherwise, it was more like, I think she would have just told me no.
Well, maybe that's just her then, because I thought maybe she was having a bad day, but she was in the the paid photograph area where people paid to get pictures with her. I did too. I'm waiting in line there, and she's giving the workers attitude.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It was like, this isn't cool, man. Yeah.
In my opinion, they shouldn't do that then. Nobody twisted their arm to make them do that stuff, right?
No.
You know who else is really kind of cold, and people made excuses for him because he's like really introverted, and that was Chris Evans. Again, my thing is he didn't need the money. He's not desperate. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. If you're going to do it right. One of the two. Now, the same one, Anthony Mackie, I had a picture with Anthony Mackie, and oh my God, talk about gracious and charming. The guy was sitting there joking with me. We were just sitting there chatting like we knew each other, right?
Yeah.
And Chris Evans was like, why are these people near me? What's going on? And it's just, my thing is, don't do it. You don't have to do it. You people are not desperate for money. You make millions of dollars per films. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't need to do it. And if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Because the only time they're required to do it is like for Comic-Con. They literally write into the contract they have to go to Comic-Con, but they don't have to do the autographs. Okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes, that the studios will have them do, like the lottery, but that's really, really, really rare for the super giant stars. They rarely do that where they force them to do that. So when they do it voluntarily, my thing is, you agreed to this job, do the job right. No one made you take that job. It's like, it's not like you had to support your dying mother or your kids who have cancer or something, right? So I'm not buying it.
That's true. And someone in our group, Joe, remarked during the Hall H panel that like Chris doesn't look like he wants to be there. Like, so yeah, I mean, maybe it gets old for some of these guys, who've been doing it for so long.
Again, it goes back to their personality. Some people, if they're introverts, I mean, just because they're actors doesn't mean they can't be introverts. And so if they're not acting, and you think about it, has Chris Evans ever done stage acting? Because there are some actors who live for the stage, and they go back to the stage when they're not working, right?
Yeah.
So the guy from Lestat, right? The guy who plays Lestat, he's doing a stage play right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A lot of these guys come from stage and they go back to being on the stage again, and they love it. And so they have that kind of personality. And there are other people who just, they can do the acting in front of a camera, but that's it, But again, if you agree to do it right, or don't do it at all. No one is twisting their arm.
That's true. And maybe we should get into the stuff with Hall H, the issues with the wristbands. Besides the actual Marvel panel itself, a lot of people weren't very excited about.
You guys were there. I chose not to go because I was not going to. I have to be careful what I say. I didn't go because I was not going to put up with that crap that for that line, because again, my panel was Friday night, and so there was no way I was going to get a badge. I was going to get a wristband because our panel ended at 9:00, and they've been handing out the wristbands since 7:30. It just, by the time we got back out there, that line had twisted around. You remember how many times it twisted around, and then it came out, and then it went down towards the sea, the village down there.
Yeah.
And it was stretching out that way. There was zero chance we were going to get anything,
Yeah, that's true.
So you guys, I'll listen to you. You guys tell me the story of Hall H on Saturday.
Yeah. So I guess Chris is having some audio difficulty hearing you, Michael, but he pretty much said, why don't we tell what happened at Hall H? Because he wasn't in there. He was doing this panel Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you want to break down?
Well, I know I've been reading some articles going on there. I know that their issue was that I guess they gave out more wristbands than needed to be. There were issues with possibly fakes going on there. So I know that they're doing some investigation on there. But I think other than possibly going down route of like possibly having to sit there and do charging for our Hall H, I think what they may have to do too is go down to the same thing what we do for our badges. Every time you log in, maybe the Hall H badges, they have some sort of ref ID on them. So then this way they can mitigate, who the fakes and who are not. And honestly, do some sort of other types of checks in order to make sure that people have enough seats, adequate seats on there. Because I know on the one day that I was camping out, when I went back to my hotel, the line was way back, was way back further than the Manchester Hyatt and Marriott there, and I know that we'd already gone through A and they were already starting B, and I'm like, there's no way all these individuals are going to get badges, bands, and if they did, they wouldn't be until afterwards. And so I think it was unfair to them to keep them waiting the entire day. The Comic-Con needs to do something better to help those individuals and set expectations, because otherwise those individuals wasted a day for no reason whatsoever.
Jason, I'm going to jump in here for a second with Chris. Chris, Jason and I discussed this a little bit earlier. So I went to TalkBack. Did you go to TalkBack?
Chris, he's asking if you went to TalkBack.
No, I don't know. What's that?
Okay, you need to go to TalkBack. TalkBack is when the Comic-Con senior staff listens to the complaints about, what the attendees went through. Okay, it's always Sunday, and it's usually Sunday about 3:00. Okay, this time with all the issues that they had, one thing that David Glanzler, Jason, this is good, let slip was they hand out less than 6,500 wristbands. So the room will seat 6,500 people, but they do not give out 6,500 wristbands. Okay. So what happened? We're not and Chris, you were talking about how they need to study it. Well, apparently they have an idea, but they're not talking about what they think went wrong. Okay. And what David Glanzer said categorically more than once, and then he did a podcast with unofficial blog too. He did a podcast with them, and he said that they have no proof that counterfeit wristbands were used. They have no one provided them the proof. They've asked over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. And so what people need to do, and we need to get this out to everybody, when people see this stuff happening, everybody has a friggin' camera. Record this stuff and turn it into them. They can't do anything. Oh, I saw somebody do this. I saw somebody do this. Well, I saw somebody walking around in shorts. Oh, okay. So, you have to give them actual proof. They cannot do with word of mouth because there's so much bad information out there. People will hear a story and they repeat it without actually having the real proof. So they want people to take pictures of these people. You see these guys doing these illegal activities because, by the way, it is illegal and it is contractually illegal. And it's actual fraud too. So yeah, it is illegal under state and federal law, both. So take pictures of these people and give it to Comic-Con. They will turn over to law enforcement. Not only will they ban these people, they'll turn over to law enforcement too. So, but no one, it's like constant. It's like people are complaining. Well, you see this stuff, take pictures of it, film it, send them the film and the pictures. Let them deal with these people, but that's just my thought. But anyway, my thing to both of you guys, Sunday from now on, go to TalkBack, because you hear a whole bunch of things. And what you hear is real issues that people had. And then the next year, if they listen, and they do listen, by the way, the next year you'll see changes, and you'll see changes caused by what people are telling them. Okay. And so every year they work on these types of things. Okay. They work very hard on it. And I know they do this because, I go to TalkBack and I listen to them. And Jason, you know some of the people too, right? You know some of the people that senior leadership, right?
Yeah.
So, we chat with them, and they work really hard on this stuff. And I'm sorry to keep going. Did you guys see the level of security? They had ATF there. Did you guys see them? ATF. They never had ATF before. And I was in I think an elevator with the ATF guys. No, I was waiting across the street with the ATF guys, and I was joking with them. I said, "Hey guys, are you guys doing a panel at Comic-Con?" And they started laughing, right? Well, but they said, "No, we're not doing a panel." Then I said to them, I'm scared that you're here because you're not doing a panel. The fact that you have to be here, that's the most frightening part. And did you guys hear too? They got snipers up in the buildings.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but ATF, they never had ATF before. We always had we had the local police, the sheriff, but now it's got to the point where ATF, and I'm sure there's a couple of FBI people there too, but they're all plainclothes, so we're not going to know them, right? But the fact that we have them there it's scary, but it's also good. And again, they had good senses of humor and they were enjoying themselves. I think that, the day they were off, they were able to go and, hopefully they hired the nerd. They brought in the nerd ATF people who would just enjoy it too, as much as we do. And they do. Okay. So just saying, but please go to Talkback. It is absolutely worth your time. Okay.
All right. Yeah. Chris, are all the audio issues?
Yeah.
Okay?
Can you all hear? Can you hear me now? No problem.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm good now. So my apologies before. So now it was a one-way conversation before. So Michael, now I'm glad I can hear your thing. So my apologies for my technical difficulties here.
No problem.
Oh, okay. So I'm saying, so all the interesting stuff I said before you didn't hear. It's like,
Yeah,
no, but I'll catch you on the recap.
but he's good now. He's good now. But so the actual Marvel panel itself, we got a few different things. We got, Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Gosling, the Ryans. We got the new Blade. We got a little peek at Avengers Doomsday that everyone else doesn't get. But a lot of people said they were underwhelmed with that. But how do you feel about that, Chris?
Well, Jason, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, I was going to say, look, 2 years ago, you got introduced to the Fantastic Four. You got introduced to Doomsday. You had all this stuff. So it's just like, with Marvel panels, with the Russo Bros coming in there, it's like a curve. They set the expectations so high. So they set the expectations so high that if they don't meet or surpass that at any of the panels, people are going to feel lackluster on it. So in my opinion, I see it both ways, because should they have done what they did for Encore? No, I don't think so. I mean, honestly, if they did the entire Encore, I think they should have come back and said, hey, as a treat for everybody in Hall H, we're going to give you guys passes to your individual theaters to use for that. That would have probably made a whole bunch of difference. But then obviously all the internet rumors that they had about Ryan Gosling being Ghost Rider was great to hear. And then obviously the Marvel panel, they did the entire showcase with all the actors on there, and then they wrapped it up. And I forgot, sorry. Then they had Spider-Man in there, and then they came out with Black Panther. For me, honestly, I think they hit all the pieces. Could they have done more? Yeah, but now I'm getting a little nitty-picky. Like, kids are like, oh, they could have done a little bit more on it. But I understand that, D23 is in 3 weeks. So they got to kind of hold stuff in their back pocket, because D23 is a mother company. And so you got to make sure that they have enough to showcase there for their shareholders and everybody else across the board.
Yeah, I agree. What were you going to say, Michael?
I liked it better when they didn't have to kowtow to Disney, but that's just me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the other thing, were you there, Jason? Chris, I don't know how many years you've been going, but Jason, were you there when they introduced the Avengers for the first time?
Yes. I was there.
Do you remember how everybody in that place stood up and screamed their lungs out? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Have we had a time since then where literally the energy in the room electrified the place? And you remember that whole phrase, raise the roof? Yeah. For a second there, we thought we were going to raise the roof. Okay. So yeah. Have you had a moment like that since then?
Well, when Robert Downey Jr. took off the Doom mask, just a couple of years ago, that brought the same kind of energy, I think. Yeah. So I think a lot of people were expecting that. They wanted something like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think honestly, you're going to get more bang for your buck the years for San Diego Comic-Con that there is no D23. I think on those years, then you're going to get a whole bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. On top of that, I was really disappointed that DC didn't have a Hall H panel or Netflix or HBO. I was really taken aback that there was no Hall H Sunday panel either, because usually there's always something going on there. It's 4 days, and this year it was only 3 days, and it was just like it felt like there was a lack of footage and just footwork on across the thing inside the con and outside the con.
Well, Netflix, have you guys seen that Netflix Tadum, where they do their own kind of like Comic-Con type thing?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, all right. I'm going to say this, okay? And Jason, you've seen it, so and Chris, you haven't. So take what I say, Chris, with a grain of salt. Jason, you've seen it. I had to turn it off because I literally was embarrassed. I am not lying. I was embarrassed watching that thing for those people taking part. It was sad. There's no other way to describe it. They were working so hard at it, and it was just a bomb of epic proportions. There's no other way to describe it. And so, Chris, I don't want to, to sour it for you, but Jason, you saw what I'm talking about, right? That thing was a mess. It was a total mess. They were trying to do something they can't do. They should just let Comic-Con do its job, and the money they spent on doing that stupid show, they could have sent those people to Comic-Con and had great panels, taking over a whole day or something, a Thursday or Thursday afternoon. Because those are still, Thursday's still a big day. It's Comic-Con still, So that's just my thought.
Yeah, I mean, everyone wants to be Disney and D23 now and own your own, event. Yeah.
And Disney can do it because they're Disney. I mean, come on, they're Disney. They have everybody under there, And is it, people have talked about going to a D23. My problem with D23 is it's just Disney. Okay, it's not everything else.
Yeah,
San Diego has everything else and Disney. And it's better if Disney gives them a full show instead of trying to save it for D23. D23 sells out. They don't need to worry about that. My thing is you make a big splash both places because not everybody wants to go do Disney. Okay, it's just that simple. I went to D23 one year. I don't want to go back. There's not. I mean, I'm not talking bad about it. It's just that no. It's corporate.
I'll talk bad about it. 9 years ago for Captain America: Civil War, I was literally tortured by Disney because for their Hall H Marvel presentation, you had to go to this underground garage, super cold. You're on the cement all night long. They have these bright lights everywhere, playing Disney movies, like Disney animated movies, up to like 11 decibel the entire night. And like you can't sleep. You're irritated. Like I felt tortured, really.
No, but it is real. That's real torture. I mean, that's what they do to torture the prisoners, right?
Yeah.
They put you in cold places. They turn up this god awful music or whatever. You can't sleep. I mean, literally, if you read about torture, that's what torture is, right?
And I swore I'd never go back. They changed their main presentation. Now it takes place at the Honda Center. You don't have to wait in the garage anymore. So I'm going back this year to see what.
But the fact that they did it in the first place, though.
Yeah.
But let us know. I really want to know if it's perked up or not.
And I know members of our group are going to D23 in a couple of weeks. So definitely, I know they were somewhat critical on the Hall H presentation. So we want to see whether or not what we're saying right now has any merit for what maybe they're holding out, and they're going to see more showcase than what's on the slew of things to come, or it's just Doomsday and that's it. But I can't imagine that Disney and Marvel is so short-sighted, saying that they're going to wing it just by Doomsday and they don't have any future plans. I think they've got something on the table, but I think they want to showcase it at D23, and then from there we're going to find out what's on there. Probably not as detailed as we've had it in years past with all the different iterations, but we'll see.
Yeah,
Chris, you're making me bite my lip. I'm having to bite my lip. And
don't bite your lips.
Exactly why I'm biting my lip, because I cannot say things. Okay, and Jason knows exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so we're doing this for you, Chris, because you're going to enjoy something pretty soon. When you go to see it, and I hope we have a chance to chat about it after you have a chance to see it.
Definitely. I have my tickets for tomorrow night.
Good.
So we'll definitely have to have a conversation after. See, and I'm a purist, so I've had my wife tell me, like, I'm like, well, that's not right because that's the way it's in the comics. She's like, well, it's movie magic, so obviously it's not going to be like that. But I'm a purist in a way, so I kind of know what storylines that they're using for this movie. So I'm tempering my expectations to see what it is, but I want to see it first, and then we can have a conversation and just go full out nerd and talk about it.
It's like. I think I told you this. My brother had the original Spider-Man. Did I tell you that?
Oh, I don't think you told me. Wow,
my brother had the original Spider-Man. But I need to tell you guys this. You need to remember this. When I was a kid, they were comic books. They were not collector's items, guys. Yeah. They were comic books. And if you grew up poor, you traded comic books with the other kids because you couldn't afford to buy 20 different comic books. You could afford to buy one. So a person would buy another one, and you buy one, and then you traded them around. And I have no idea. We traded those comic books away. So I mean, that's just the bottom line and stuff. So, but I touched the original. I had it in my hands at one point. But
listen, that's my fandom is comic books. So I know that I've shown Jason the app that I have that I catalog all my collections on there. So the original Spider-Man, I don't have. Obviously, it's on my bucket list, on my grill list for having Amazing Fantasy 15 or Amazing Spider-Man #1. But I do have some old vintage Spider-Man. But I do get it. There's nothing better than you opening up an old book and just smelling the pages on it. That just brings me back to when I was a kid, reading the books when I was a kid.
We had the original Thor where he appeared in that one comic book, right? We had that one. And I think I don't know if we had the original Doctor Strange, but I know we had the original Thor. So, I mean, this is, like I said, remember, this is back in the day. They were comic books, guys. They were not collector's items. They were something you read and you enjoyed it, and then you pass it on to your friends. Okay, so
back in the day, we didn't worry about whether or not there was any corner creases or if there was any marks on it. You'd crumble them all up and you would use them as baseball bats and everything.
You roll them up to swat, the flies or something too, right? I mean, just seriously. So, but it's nice to have lived through those days when they were just comic books. Everything's a collector's item now. So it's like, oh my God, people give it a rest, because nothing is collectors anymore because they make so many of them and everybody saves them. The reason why those are collector's items is because they were comic books and we didn't save them. There are some people who did save them because they saved everything. And I think we call them hoarders.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But, nobody knew these were collector's items because, they didn't take them seriously. It's a big business now, but they were not taken seriously. And when they made a comic book movie or something, it was like really, really bad. Mm-hmm. I think Superman was the first time they actually spent some time and money on it, So, just a thought.
Yeah, my greatest book, my grandma got at a yard sale, the first appearance of Wolverine in The Incredible Hulk.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's pretty lucky with that one.
That's a good book to have, man. I'm telling you, it's up there.
Yeah, it is. It is. And, but I heard a lot of people kind of complain that Comic-Con really wasn't the same this year. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts? Me and Michael kind of discussed the lack of offsites behind, over by the Adult Swim area behind the convention. But what do you think, Chris? Was it a little different this year?
Well, I can tell you this. So I think this is the first year that I actually hit any of the offsites because most of the years I've always been at the con going throughout it. So that in itself lets you know that there was probably not much of a footprint because I actually ventured out of the con to go to an offsite because there wasn't a lot. I'll give you a perfect example. At the end of the con, I always go buy T-shirts. And from my understanding, there's always one vendor there, and they got two stands, one at the one end of the con and the other one. He only had one stand this year, and from my understanding, and as I was going through the same vendors that I would do interact business with throughout the year, where they would have multiple stands, they only had one this year. So that's why I said it felt like lesser footprint. Not as many content creators, not as many panels as in years past. So that's why it allowed me the ability to go outside the con to go do the offsite. The Lanterns offsite was amazing. I'm definitely going to try to do the lodge. I got my Lanterns ring right here.
Nice.
And so I'm waiting for that show. But I mean, other than that, I didn't really hit any other offsites. You tell me, how were the other offsites?
They were mostly lackluster. I mean, other than lanterns, and I had a lot of fun at Nickelodeon, but that was more for kids.
You got slimed.
I got slimed, yeah. Yeah, everybody knows that. But yeah, I mean, I hated Resident Evil, no zombies. It just seemed like less the last few years. It seemed like there had been a lot of offsites, and there just wasn't that many to do.
And I heard the Silo one. I heard the Silo one got put up late, and then when they went in there, it wasn't all that. I mean, it looked good, but it was just like a little recording, and just you walked in and you saw the Silo, and that was it.
Very short. I mean, if you're a fan of the show and you don't have to wait in line 2 hours, it's fine. But if you're gonna wait a long time, yeah, not worth it. Even the lodge was a lot pared down this year and didn't have the normal stuff it had. But yeah.
You did the lodge, right, Jason?
Yeah.
You did the lodge. Well, the good thing was, right, remember we talked about this earlier. I'm not talking bad about any place that gives you free adult beverages. Okay, I am not going to do that because I want my free adult beverages. And they really were really interesting drinks. One of them was a way too spicy, but it was great that it was so spicy. All the other things in there were interesting too, but the fact that they actually have UFC. Did you get any of the? You get the towels?
No, I didn't go through the UFC part. No.
Oh well, we kind of didn't either, but they gave us the towels anyway. So
okay.
we got the towels. I find that interesting. I find it interesting that UFC has such a big presence at Comic-Con nowadays. I don't know how those two relate.
Paramount. It's because Paramount and UFC have a partnership now.
Oh,
yeah.
Good for
You
them.
also got to figure out, with WWE having a footprint in it, and now AWE having a footprint. UFC is the next logical thing. So they want to make sure that they cover anybody and everybody's fandom.
That's it's because you look at Sci-Fi Channel and Sci-Fi Channel really is the wrestling channel for all intents and purposes. It's really sad. I just find it interesting that the types of people who usually like wrestling used to look down on the nerds. So it's kind of interesting that's expanded out there. But we've got John Cena, we've got The Rock. We've got all these guys that came over from wrestling and have become big action stars in the genre, right? And so maybe it isn't so odd because a lot of these guys, I think they're looking to expand beyond that to go into movies, right? And the thing is, what they need to realize is, both Cena and The Rock actually can act. They're if you take away the fact that they're wrestlers, they really are decent actors. Okay, so. It shouldn't be that big of a surprise because they always say that wrestling is not phony. They just say it's scripted, and they're right. There's a difference between being phony and being scripted, and they admit that it's scripted. So.
Oh yeah, I was a big wrestling fan in the 80s and 90s. They were kind of like the real life superheroes, the Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man and all those guys. But you watch a show like The Dark Side of the Ring on Vice, and all these guys die in their 40s and 50s because of all the injuries they took. They're taking painkillers, on all kinds of drugs, the steroids, the drugs, and they all died young. It's sad,
Yeah.
What's interesting is both Cena and The Rock are still going, and The Rock is still huge. And I'm just wondering, but the thing too is if they're smart, they go to the best doctors in the world, and they get the stuff that can make them big but doesn't kill them at the same time. And so you just kind of hope that they're doing what's best for their health and stuff.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When I saw a video of John Cena walking, John can't be that much older than me, but just seeing him walk, he was like, wow, he's walking like a 90-year-old guy. But I mean, you figure all the probably the vertebrae that he's had fused and everything in his back, he can't move like he did when he was in his 20s and his 30s now. So they're getting there, but there's nothing that a doctor can cure with all the injuries that you sustained throughout it. So the quality of life, and so it's just how you're going to medicate yourself, or you're going to just keep on doing this stuff. So seeing those guys, the longevity that they have, and they morph, and they've advanced their careers by going to acting and doing something less physical. Kudos to them. 100%.
Definitely.
You know what, Jason? Chris just said something about painkillers. No. You're laughing now, Chris.
I'm trying to see where you're going with this one.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. But Jason knows exactly what I'm talking about, and you will too tomorrow night. And so that's one of the things we need to discuss too. Okay, just put it on your in your memory banks, right? And you'll see. But anyway, so because we have to be very careful. And I said to Jason, I don't want to discuss the movie at all because I'm afraid of giving away. And I know I will because that's just me. So we can't discuss it at all because I'll say something and I don't want to spoil it for you because I went in there kind of cold. I saw some of the previews, but thank God the previews don't begin to tell you what the film is about. It's a wonderful film.
And and honestly, that's one of the things that I have a hard time because now with the algorithm on the feeds, you see these trailers, and basically the trailers are almost giving you the entire movie. So I try my hardest not to watch any of them because I want to go in there as cold and just and enjoy the movie as much as possible. Like I said, the algorithm's got you, and you're seeing it however many times you don't want to see it. It's going to do it double or triple time, so it's going to be in your face. So you're like, okay, I got to see it, and then you just got to temper your expectations. It's like, okay, is this really what I'm seeing or what it's not? I'm trying my hardest not to watch the Doomsday trailer. I watched the one at Comic-Con, and I'm like, okay, I'm not watching any more until December. I'm gonna do that. No. It's going to be hard, but I definitely don't want to see any more.
Well, because the worst trailers actually show. I remember seeing the trailer for the original. I think it was the original Suicide Squad. I can't remember if it was the original one or the second one. And I saw one of the trailers. I said, that's in the final scene. Yep. That's after the final big fight. And I could tell that it was obvious, right? Mm-hmm. Why would you do that to people? Yeah. Why would you do that?
The reason why they do it is because they don't have enough content on it. And so they kind of have to showcase it across the board in order to sell it to you. And that's the power of whether or not your movie has enough pizzazz to wow them, that they have to spoil it in a trailer, or with a Doomsday, they just have a Doomsday clock and they show you Captain America and you're like, what? And that's it. And that's fine. That's all you need. You need a cliffhanger. A good cliffhanger will leave everybody imagination going on as to what to expect. What can I do?
There you go. That's the right answer. Oh, you guys, that reminds me. You guys, if we could have a chance to meet up at Comic-Con, and I'm sorry, Jason, I was running around like a crazy person. I promised I'd be there more, but I had just way too much to do. But I want to introduce Chris, you were talking about trailers. Guys, I know a person who makes trailers for the movies, okay? And he was at Comic-Con. So I'd like to introduce you guys to him, because he's the one that makes he's made some. I can't tell you the ones he's made. He told me. But we were supposed to kind of keep it a secret though, too, because we weren't supposed to know about him and stuff like that.
You didn't sign the
I can't tell you. But anyway, I'll introduce you. Remind me to introduce you guys to him because he's made, some really big ones. Okay, that's really good. Big ones. Okay, so yeah,
always good to have the inside scoop there.
No, it is. You'd be surprised with these people. It's like I always tell them. I think I got sworn to secrecy one time. I can't even remember. It's like I always tell people, I did secrecy for my job before. So, I've kept secrets literally from the 90s, and I literally have to take them to my death. It's just I had that kind of job and stuff. So just saying, but just remind me, because he is what he can tell us, what he's allowed to tell us. Okay. All right. Let me say that. Because there are things that were going on beforehand and before the thing he said that he couldn't tell us about because they're going to, one of them premiered at San Diego. Okay, so yeah. So it's cool knowing people, isn't it? It really is.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why everybody who I've talked, from Comic-Con, I'm like standing in line, and you're just talking to each other, understanding what their likes are, and you develop relationships. These are individuals that I've had the pleasure of meeting with them and just hanging out with them on non-Comic-Con stuff. If I travel to the West Coast, they'll come down and meet me and hang out with me, and they're lasting friendships. And so if they ever come down this side, they know that I'll be here on the East Coast and I'll help them out with whatever they want. And so that's the beauty of Comic-Con, and that's why I encourage anybody who's never been. You got to go, and you got to just go out there. I understand the lines suck, but trust me. Talk to somebody, because trust me, people want to talk, because nobody wants to be sitting on their phone for 2.5 hours on a line and everything. People want to talk and they want to see what's going on.
Tell your little boy we said hi. Tell you something.
Oh, yeah. Mateo, we say hello.
Are you guys going to New York Comic Con?
No.
It's on my bucket list. Not this year. I definitely want to go, especially I know New York Comic Con is more about artists and writers, so that is on my list that I would love to go one year.
Their Artist Alley. I have a friend of mine who's into Artist Alleys. He raves about. He said he says it's twice as big as San Diego. So
that's right here.
You definitely want to go. Let me say this. Okay, you have a choice. Well, Jason, you can apply as press, right?
Yeah.
Chris, what I've done in the past is I signed up for their Pop Verse thing. There's a membership thing, and what happens is the membership people get first dibs on. It's almost like pre-registration, but even better than pre-registration.
Okay.
So you can get things for it. If you really want to go, you really make it easier on yourself. You sign up for that. It costs money. I'm telling you up front, it costs money. But the good thing about it is you get first dibs at the 4-day passes. Okay.
That's good.
And so if you're in there really quick, as a general rule, if you're one of there's these different levels, and I was the highest level, and so I got in. I wasn't gonna go, and then I decided not to go. But anyway, I was in that highest level, and so I could get the the badge and stuff. So do some research on it and decide if it's worth the money for you, to do it.
I appreciate that insight.
Next year, and look at that, and look at the timetables on that, because I think those memberships are good for a year. Look at the timetable to make sure your thing is good for that. And there are bennies for that too, and hotel rooms and some other stuff, and some access to VIP lounges there. It's kind of worth it because it's a hike out to most of the hotels from Hudson Yards. Where are you on the East Coast?
I'm down here in Florida, in South Florida.
Have you been to MegaCon?
Yes.
What are your thoughts about that?
So I've got to MediCon many times, and it's good. The only problem is that it's lackluster because sometimes you go in there for special artists, and then 2-3 weeks before the con, the artist bails out, and you're like, well, why am I going to go to this now? They've been in past years, they've done a good job, and if that situation happens, they book another big act to counteract that. So, for the most part, no issues. I can tell you that the year that I went to MegaCon was the year that Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo were announcing that they were starting their Dark Metal series for DC. And I'll never forget, because Greg Capullo out there in a panel, I was talking to a buddy of mine. He's like, here, come to this panel. You're going to enjoy it. So I'm in the panel, and Greg Capullo's talking, and he's joking about how his wife called him up and said, hey, I got you a surprise. And next thing you know, Greg Capullo hears a knock on his door. He's like, well, what the hell did you get me? I don't know what's going on there. Is it pizza, hooker, whatever? I don't know what it is. And he opened up the door, and it's his buddy, Todd McFarlane. And then Greg Capullo's like, oh, yeah, my buddy, Todd McFarlane. He's sitting in the back of the room. And we all look, we're like, holy crap, Todd McFarlane is sitting back there. So it was cool, because then my buddy, he had left the middle of the panel to go stand in line for a Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder sighting. Well, if he would have stayed in the panel, he would have gotten it for free and would not have to wait. But, that was probably the one thing. That's where I got to meet Stan a couple of times. I took my buddies to go meet Stan, and we got pictures with him. I had a great Frank Miller experience at MegaCon. So, and for me personally, the experience has been great. In the years that I haven't gone, it's probably because I was honing in on one specific act, and then I was ready to go and pull the trigger, and all of a sudden the act just bailed out. And so I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go. But I do know that now, with my son being older, he has more interest in it, and I think I'll probably make more of an effort to go this upcoming year. As long as it's not the weekend before or after Super Bowl. If it's after Super Bowl, no problem. If the week before Super Bowl, it's crazy.
It's too expensive too, because everybody's down there partying, right?
Oh yeah. No, because in the year that it was here, the football hall of the Pro Bowl was down here. Oh. So you had MegaCon going at the same time as the Pro Bowl. I mean, and you couldn't get a hotel for anything whatsoever. And so, to have friends, not basically, you have to drive up from South Florida up there, 4-hour drive, and then drive back because you didn't have a place to stay. It just wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's crazy. Speaking of Stanley, did either of you guys watch Stanley the final chapter yet? The documentary.
I have not. I know you mentioned to me, but it's on my to-do list, so I'm definitely going to be watching it this week. It's on the docket.
Okay.
Jason, did you review it?
I did. I reviewed it for Film Threat. And yeah, Chris and I actually had the discussion in the chat. Because Chris was actually, he had heard the online stuff too about the director, being complicit in the abuse by just filming it, and the documentary paints a completely different picture. And in my review, I don't kind of go into details about that because I don't want to spoil the whole documentary. I did a interview with the director at Comic-Con, so you can watch that on my channel too. That was really good. But yeah, just not to get into it too much, the director wasn't part of any of the abuse. He actually helped Stan a lot. He helped him get free of that. So yeah.
Who was it? Was it his daughter or his son-in-law that they said was responsible for that abuse?
Well, it's interesting because his daughter wasn't really. It paints the picture that his daughter wasn't around much. This was business managers.
Yes,
it was more his handlers, because it's been on record that his daughter was not. She wasn't in the picture. She wasn't in the picture. But it was more the business managers, and they're trying to capitalize on trying to get as many signatures from Stan working hours. And you figure 90-plus-year-old man, pushing him, he can't do the same amount of work that we all did at that age, at our age, pushing him to do all that. And the hours on end, it was just horrible. His last year should not have been like that, but they all knew it's like, hey, he's not going to be around tomorrow, so let's capitalize as much as we possibly can. So it was sad. It was sad that that's how his last years were kind of being treated at.
And have you guys who's still out there doing the cons, right? William Shatner.
Yeah.
And he's 94.
Yeah.
And so this is the hard part on this thing, because I remember there was some talk, with Nichelle Nichols too at the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened is her son had to come in and kind of take control of stuff, and they were trying to make him out as the villain, and he wasn't. He was trying to make it so his mother didn't have to wasn't hauled out every, for all these different things and stuff, because she was an older woman, and she shouldn't have been done. Now, having said that, the thing about Shatner is, Shatner's 94, and that man's overweight too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had a chance. All right. Jason, I don't know if I introduced them to one of my panelists, right? Not this time around, about 2 panels back, right?
Yeah.
Had a production company with Bill Shatner. I think I told you, with Bill Shatner back in Canada. So he knows him personally and stuff like that. And we actually he grabbed me and took me back to the green room one time where Shatner was. And Shatner, he got a call from Bob's wife, and to see them talking on the phone, Shatner just lit up, just chatting with her. Old friend, hadn't talked to her for years, and you could just tell he was super happy just chatting with her, right? And my thing is, with him, he kind of needs that at this point. It keeps him going. Okay, it keeps him going. And he's complicit in it, but then no one's mismanaging him. No one's forcing him to do that. Now, having said that, what they have to remember is he's 94, and regardless of what he says he wants, you have to be the adult with people that age. Okay, you got children again at 94. They're children again. It doesn't mean they're stupid. It just means they're children, and you have to take that into account. And I could tell he enjoyed it. He enjoyed seeing his friend, again. But it was obvious there were issues. And when you get to be that old, there are going to be issues. I don't care how healthy or how smart you are, there are going to be issues because you're 94 freaking years old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And they need to stop propping these people up and bringing them out. Even if they say they want to do it, because they, they have problems. I had another friend who was there for another time with Bill Shatner, and there were issues that popped up, and you have to take that into account.
Yeah, I will say about the Stan Lee movie, it's heartbreaking. There's heartbreaking scenes. Stan loved his fans. He loved to be at cons, but there were points he was pushed. He didn't want to. He wants to go home. He's tired. Right after his wife died, his wife, who he loved more than anything, they're pushing him out to do these conventions. Yeah, no, Stan's asking, how much money did we make? I don't know, Stan. He's got these guys in the back meticulously counting every dollar. I don't know how much we made, and there's one scene, Stan's about to go on stage with Todd McFarlane for the final time, and me and Todd talked about this before I saw the movie, but Stan is stumbling. He almost falls, like he almost face plants, and they got to catch Stan, and they just the manager just pushes him on stage. Go out there and speak. And Todd's already on stage. He's speaking. He doesn't know this is going on, and it's what he did. Yeah.
Well, but that's criminal. I mean, clearly that's criminal, and it's fraud and all this and tax evasion. I mean, there's you have. I mean, there are all these federal offenses that those people behind the scenes committed, and they should really literally be in jail. The sad part about it is the daughter didn't take part more, but again, we have to be careful. We don't know what relationship they had. We can think, you should have been better, blah, blah, blah. But we don't know how he treated his daughter. We don't have a clue. We don't have the right to say she should have been doing this and that, because we don't know how, if he was a loving father, do you think there's any chance that she would have let all this crap happen? She would have been there constantly, Yeah. And he may have decided he didn't want to have anything to do. We just don't know. We don't know what we don't know. What we do know is that those bastards behind the scenes, abused him. We do know that.
Yeah. The silver lining about it all is that everybody has seen that behavior, and for the elderly legends that are nearing this right now, that behavior is being curtailed. Because I know that during Comic-Con, George Takei had one signing and one thing, and then they had it strict guidelines. Hey, he's here, this, and they're out. They're not gonna overexert it for him. Same thing with Frank Miller. They didn't do that to Frank Miller whatsoever. So these legends, they're now taking account of what they can do, and they're not going to push them further than they need to be, because they don't deserve it.
Well, if the cons, to me too, the cons have a certain responsibility, they're talking to their staff constantly, and they're seeing these people, and their conversation with the staff is, is he all right? Is what can we do to make this easier for him? And they may already be doing that, but to me, they have a responsibility too. And if somebody's 100 years old and they're propping their behinds up, and they're sitting there out there, and these people are almost dead, then they need to stop that.
Yeah, and I will say, I saw Stan lots of times. I got autographs, photos. I ran into him at Comic-Con, and he was great. And he always had so much energy and so much life, and was so happy to meet the fans. But the final time I did see him at LA Comic-Con, and he was signing, he just had his head down, just sad, and just signing every book, and it's like, but the movie does have a happy ending. Stan did have a happy ending in life that a lot of people don't know about, so you got to watch the movie to see what happened.
Good. All right. Yeah.
But this been great, guys. I feel like there's still more we need to discuss.
We're just scratching the surface, man. We're just scratching the surface. So please invite me for more. I can sit there and I can talk for hours. Now I got the audio and everything, technical issues all set up, so we can sit there and talk for hours, my friend.
Spider-Man.
Oh, listen, and I'll bring out. I got comics, so I said I'll bring out comics. We can talk.
All right.
Oh, guys, too. This month I'm headed out to the World Science Fiction Convention in LA. So I might send you a couple of things from there, Jason.
Yeah.
and stuff, because hopefully that should be interesting and stuff. And then, guys, I'm gonna try. Tentatively, I'm planning to go to New York Comic Con and LA Comic Con later on this year. Are you guys going to LA?
I'm going to LA.
Okay, all right, Jason, I'll see you there then.
Yeah.
And then Chris, next year. Oh, by the way, guys, let me throw this out to you. C2E2 in Chicago. You need to give that some thought. You need to give that some thought, because it's, they got plenty of hotel rooms, easy flights. Come on, everybody, all those flights go to Chicago. You can get good, cheap flights to Chicago. Okay.
Definitely.
And it's interesting. My first time there, I loved it, because you walk into the McCormick place, right? They had a DJ, and it was like you're going to a party. It was, and the kid, he was good. Okay. And even the old guys were just like, oh, okay. Yeah. That's it. Okay. Come on. Let's go. Right. No, but seriously, guys, you give some serious thought to going next year. Cause I'm trying for a panel there too. And we've got a whole bunch of people that I want you to introduce you to. Okay. Some of the people on the panel. So hopefully we'll get a panel. It doesn't hurt if you guys write them a letter. Are you guys doing an Expanse panel this year or something? Just a thought. But seriously though, you should give it a try, because it's in Chicago, and it's slightly different too. So it's just, and it's run by the people who do it's run by Reed Pop, same people who do New York Comic Con and Emerald City Comic Con, same people.
Awesome.
Okay. One day, next week I'll be at Midsummer Scream in Long Beach Horror Convention, and 2 weeks D23. So yeah, we'll have to discuss those.
Oh, you're busy. Yeah,
you're a busy man. You're all over the place.
But next year, because you're planning to go, instead of doing WonderCon, I'm thinking instead of doing WonderCon, I'm doing C2E2 next year. So give that some serious thought, because it's something new, someplace you haven't been before. Okay.
Okay.
And Chris, you got to give a look at it too. Okay. Just
definitely.
Yeah.
C2E2 has been on my bucket list, so definitely.
Yeah. And then, maybe do that in New York next year too. Do something different. Well, do C2E2, San Diego, and New York. Okay, I know this, but
it's okay. We'll figure it out.
They're different. They're all very different. They really are. So.
Yeah, and what I want to leave people with is I want to echo what Chris said. Meeting the people in line, especially at San Diego Comic-Con, if you're in the Hall H line or one of these crazy lines. Yeah, that's how I met these guys here. We have a whole big line group. It's so much fun. We get to meet up with them every year. That's the best part. I mean, chasing around doing all these things, that's fun, but make friends with the people. They have the same interests as you.
Just real quick, Jason, I got to ask you.
Yeah.
What's the person you met in line who lives the farthest away from you or any of us?
Toronto. I met a microbiologist from Toronto.
All right, Chris?
Probably, I don't know. It might be either a microbiologist or somebody else that's in Northern California, opposite side of the country.
Okay. I met this couple from New Zealand.
Wow.
Okay. And it goes back to what Jason was saying about who you meet in line. I mean, the lines, take the opportunity to talk to people. I remember one of the longest lines I've ever been to, which kind of freaked me out a little bit, was I saw these young girls and these older women in line, right? This is before then, they were young guys and whatever, right? Then I see all these young girls and these older women in line. So I talked to them. I made the mistake of asking them, and they broke it down for me. You can guess who they were, right?
Yeah, Twilight.
It's oh my God, is it Hunger Games? No.
Oh,
No. It's the one with the vampire. The one with the
Twilight.
vampire.
Twilight.
Oh, Twilight.
Yeah, the Twilight people. Yeah. Oh my God, I made the mistake of asking them. They broke it down for me. Team this, team that, and then they were asking me what team I was. I said, I don't know anything about this, right? But what was wonderful about it, and I think that same thing you guys were talking about with the wrestlers, the fandom expanded because it was great that these young girls were there and seeing Comic-Con. So it wasn't that they just saw that, the Twilight, they saw everything else and they were enjoying themselves. Okay. And so the fandom expanded. And so, we should be looking at fandom expanding constantly, all the time and stuff like that, So that's just my
Always.
thought. I'm just throwing that because, Jason, you always said the people you meet in line. My brain went, boom, okay, Twilight. Oh, I'm Team Everett. It's like, whatever, right? And it was great. I loved it because they were so enthusiastic. And that's our power, is that we have that enthusiasm, that energy,
Yeah.
And remember, San Diego Comic-Con, you literally have some of the most creative people on the planet there. You have the artists, you have the writers, you have the directors, you have the producers, right?
Yeah.
You have literally some of the most creative people on the planet in a very small space.
Mhm.
That energy is like, oh, come on. It's like, when you look at fission and fusion, okay? You start with these little tiny little atoms, and what do you get? You get this giant explosion of epic proportions. And that's what Comic-Con is.
It is. And you bring the greatest fans in the world there. And in a time that's so divisive, in the world, you need something like Comic-Con to bring us together.
Oh,
yeah. All right, guys, it's been great. Let's do this again. Let's talk Spider-Man. More Comic-Con too. I don't think we got to everything, but
we just scratched the surface.
Yeah, just scratched this.
Chris, stay through all the credits. You have to stay through all the credits.
Will do.
Okay?
I never leave.
Make sure
I
you
never
stay,
leave.
because they're going to try and trick you. And people were
The rule
leaving.
is
and I
you
was
stay
telling
until the
Jason
house
this.
lights come up.
Yeah. You have to stay. I mean, really, literally to the end. Okay. Just all the credits, and just stay. When you think the credits are done, just stay. Okay. Just saying. Just throwing that out at you. Okay.
All right, guys. Yeah,
Thank you for the invite, Jason. I appreciate it. My pleasure meeting you, Michael.
Oh, my pleasure too. And Jason, thank you for bringing us together. It's like we got this crazy energy going here. It's like, Comic-Con.
But we all love it. So I love talking to you guys. Yeah, you guys have the passion too. So thanks, you guys. Let's do it again.
Thank you all.
Never give up the passion, guys. Never give it up. It'll keep you young.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. Later.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.